Mr. Travis here, and we're back for another week of LABrary. And if you're not familiar with how we structure our LABraries, is that each week I will give you guys a challenge. I won't show you what I do, and then when we come back next week, I'll show you what I did to do the challenge, because I like doing them too. And then the second part of the LABrary will give you another challenge. So, just to catch everybody up, 2 weeks ago we did make your own mythological creature. And for that, I ended up making a half sheep, half squid. And I called it, or giant squid, and I called it the giant squeep. And so it's got part of a sheep with its squeep wool, and it's also got 4 sort of tentacles that it uses to move. And then it lives in the water, and it kind of goes up and down to eat. And so that was my mythological creature. Both work. And so the challenge for this week was, we talked a little bit about what it means to have a habitat, what a habitat means, and that's sort of the environment that your creature would live in, or that we live in. So trying to get you to think about where your creature would live, what makes it feel safe, what kind of surroundings does it need to be in order to feel safe, protected, but also be able to eat and hunt if it needs to. So I'll show you kind of what I did to make my squeep's habitat, and then we'll do a challenge for next week. But I also wanted to share this great photo that we got on Facebook. This photo is from Esther. And Esther made an amazing creature, her own mythological creature. It's half mermaid, half horse. And so she called it the horse mermaid. And so you can see it here. And again, I really appreciate you guys sharing these kind of things, the challenges. And I would love to show them more. So if you send me your challenges, I'd love to show them on these videos. So let me show you what I did for this week. So again, we needed to make a habitat for our mythological creatures, and so I decided, since the giant squeep, its main predator were schools of tuna, which would sort of beat up on our squeep. And so he's got to be able to hide from the tuna and feel safe. And so what I've decided is that the squeep actually buries himself in the deep, deep, deep water. And so what he does, I got a box here, just a cardboard box. And then I got some construction paper and some pipe cleaners. So this is supposed to be like little pieces of coral and just little plants, and then I drew like little waves. So like if you look on pictures of the bottom of the ocean, it kind of looks like waves in the sand when the waves and the currents push the sand. And so this is the bottom of the ocean, so it just looks like the regular bottom. And so you wouldn't even know that this would be the habitat and the home for the squeep. But so when the squeep decides he's eaten and he just needs to go rest, what he does is he uses his tentacles to dig himself a hole. He's falling apart. Dig himself a hole in the bottom of the ocean, and then he kind of moves the sand, and then he digs himself a hole, and then he'll go hide in his hole, and then he'll use his little tentacles, and then he buries himself again at the bottom of the ocean. So it's like, oh, where'd the squeep go? So when the tuna come by, they have no idea where the squeep is. And the squeep can also, if he wanted to, he could also use this as an advantage to pop out. It's like, but if he was trying to scare something away, he could pop out and kind of freak ocean things out. But the squeak, he only eats like plankton and algae and stuff, so he doesn't really need to like surprise his prey. He doesn't jump out and grab anything. He uses his wool to suck in the plankton, and that's how he gets his nutrients. And so, anyway, so this is my habitat. And again, all of this, what we've kind of talked about the last couple of weeks when we made our creatures and we made our habitat, is thinking about what you're going to make before actually start making it. Why you make things, why you make a choice, why does the squeak need to hide, and how would he hide? Because he's pretty big, so he's not going to find a cave, or he's not going to be able to hide under a rock, and so he needs to find a big open places. And fortunately, he has all these tentacles that he can use to dig holes really fast, and then buries himself under there, and then he uses his wool can kind of stick out, and then he could still suck in some plankton if he needed to, and he'll be fine under there. He could sleep under there and that kind of thing. So that's my habitat for my squeak. And so again, if you made your own habitat, or if you made your own creature, if you want to send me a picture, again, I'll give you all the information here on how to send me stuff. I would love to show it. And this was a lot of fun, actually. So the next thing we're going to do is I am going to give you the challenge for next week that you will work on, and then when we come back for next week, I'll show you what I did, and hopefully you might send in some stuff that we can share. Okay, we'll be right back. All right, we're back. I'm here with Edgar Dragon Poe, and we're going to talk about our challenge for next week. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about our digestive system, how we take food in to our bodies, and how our bodies take that food and break it down and get all the good things out, all the vitamins and the minerals and all the stuff that we need. And we're going to do an experiment to sort of test how our digestive system works. So here's what we're going to do. Well, let's first talk about how our digestive system works. What are the steps for digestion? So if we were going to take some food, if I was going to take this cracker, what would I do to get it into my stomach? So the first thing, obviously, is I got to put it in my mouth. And then this cracker's kind of big. I'm not going to be able to just put it down there. So I'm going to have to break it down. And my body gives me some tools to do that. I've got my teeth, right? And then if I'm chewing, when you're chewing food, it can get kind of dry, especially if it's a cracker like that. So your body also produces, a liquid to help break it down and to help get it down in your stomach. It's called saliva. And so that's what comes into your mouth. We've got saliva glands to help break down the food. It goes down through what's called your esophagus to get it down to your stomach. And inside your stomach, you have stomach acid and other digestive juices that work on the food. And then your stomach actually moves and kind of helps break down the food even more. And then it keeps on going down through your intestines. You've got a small intestine and then the big intestine. And again, that kind of moves and squishes the food, but also has some digestive juices. And that pulls out all the nutrients, all the good things. And then whatever's left comes out the other side. So we're going to do some experiments today about how to break down our food. So what I've got today, and what you'll need to find is, first we need something to digest. So I'm just going to use some crackers. I think you can use any kind of crackers, graham crackers, goldfish crackers. And then I've got some different things that we're going to use for our digestive juices. So I've got water. And then I've got some clear soda. So just any sort of clear soda. You just want to make it clear so you can see what's happening. And then I've got what's called vinegar. I've got some clear vinegar too. And then I've got some sandwich bags that what I will do is I will put, this is what I'll use to do my experiments. So I can take my cracker and I can put some into a bag. And again, the first thing we got to do before we can even test our different liquids is, what would we do if we were going to really eat this stuff? We would have to chew it. So we're going to have to break it down. So what tool would you use to break this down into smaller bits? And how much would you want to break it down? And then we can test the different liquids to see what happens, how much it breaks down, how long does it break down. What I would say is get a piece of paper and you can make some observations. So you can write down, well, when I put it in water, I put this much water in. You could get like some measuring cups and measuring spoons, and I'll say I put a tablespoon of water in for a full cracker and it did this. And then you could try it again for another cracker and you put 2 tablespoons in. Did that make a difference? So record your experiments. And then another thing to do is sort of, I kind of made a little picture of my digestive system, at least down to my stomach. And so I can kind of understand, you can make a little process of what has to happen. So I could write down, oh, I need to chew my food. And then the saliva will come in and help me break it down. And then I have my esophagus and my throat will help me swallow the food. And then this is where it'll go into my stomach. And that's where all my digestive juices will start working on the food. So, walk yourself through the process of how we take in food, how it's broken down, and what things work the best to help break down our food. And you could even can you make your own model of how your digestive system works? Could you say use a balloon or something to make it, and that could be your stomach, or you can make a bowl could be your stomach, and how would you get food down into your bowl? You can, make your own stomach, essentially, make your own digestive system. So that is the challenge. So for next week, what I'm going to do, because I haven't done any of this yet, I'm going to experiment with some of these different liquids. I'm going to experiment with different ways to break down my crackers. I'm going to put them into different bags to see what happens. How does it break down? What breaks down the most? How much liquid did I use? Other things that you can sort of test. I'm going to record what I do, so I know how much liquid I put in, how long it took before I kind of knew what it would do, those kinds of things. And then when we come back next week, I'll show you my bags of stuff and anything else that I made. And then again, anything that you find out, anything that you want to share, whether it's a model you made, a drawing of the digestive system, the actual experiment, I would love to see it. I'd love to see photos. I would love to see photos. I would love to see anything that you learned. I'm putting down our email here, and you can share things with us at Meridian Library. We're also, all of these are posted on Facebook, so you can also put a comment there, and that's it. So next week, I will show you what I did to create my digestive system, and again, I'd love to see what you did. And then that's it. We'll see you next week. Thanks, guys.